Today we're going to be talking about one of the best luchas de apuestas of the 90s. There are a ton of matches that can fit this description because the 90s had a metric ton of really good apuestas matches. But I consider this one to be one of the extra special ones. It is a CMLL match from 1996, a three-way bout between Negro Casas, El Hijo del Santo, and El Dandy. The event this match was featured on was 1996's Juicio Final, or in English, The Final Judgment. One of the last shows of the year in Arena Mexico. I'm not sure of the attendance for this match. I searched, I couldn't find a number, but based on the crowd, I have to assume they drew well. But I can't say for certain if it was a sellout. If you're familiar with Lucha Libre around this time period, you'll recognize that all three of these men had some sort of history with each other before. El Hijo del Santo and Negro Casas had one of the best rivalries of the entire decade. Honestly, of all of Lucha Libre history. Neither were strangers to apuestas at this point. El Hijo del Santo had won over 40 apuestas matches in only 14 years as a luchador. Additionally, he had also already beaten Negro Casas back in July of 1987. As for Negro Casas, he had been in 10 apuestas matches up to this point, losing to only two men. The first being Eddie Guerrero, the second, El Hijo del Santo. Last, we had El Dandy. Dandy had not faced either man in an apuestas match, but he had already had 25 apuestas matches of his own. And it wasn't against just any chumps either. He had victories over El Hombre Bala, El Pirata Morgan, Bestia Salvaje, and traded wins and losses with El Satánico. All three of the competitors in this match were at or near the absolute top of the sport at the time. For this match, we had a sort of reverse dynamic. In previous matches with Casas and Santo, Negro Casas was the rudo and Santo the técnico. But in this one, Santo was the rudo and Casas the técnico. Dandy was also on the technical side, making this a sort of 2 versus 1 situation. But how did we get here? What made Santo turn rudo for this encounter? El Hijo del Santo returned to CMLL in 1995 after about a 3-year stint with AAA. He returns as a técnico, as most are accustomed to see, and works that way until late 1996. After the 63rd aniversario, in which Negro Casas defeated El Hijo del Santo by DQ, El Hijo del Santo didn't appear in CMLL for a couple of months. In this time, Negro Casas turned técnico, and he was scheduled for a trios match alongside Hector Garza and El Dandy against Scorpio Jr., Bestia Salvaje, and El Felino. However, things are not always as they appear. As that match was starting, Bestia Salvaje and Scorpio Jr. are both beating up on Negro Casas, but El Felino remains outside the ring. When he finally enters the ring, he removes his cloak and reveals himself. It's not El Felino, it's El Hijo del Santo. He joins the beatdown on Negro Casas and the Técnicos, and when I say this was a beatdown, brother, this was an absolute beating. They were obliterating these guys. At one point, El Hijo del Santo puts Negro Casas in the a la caballo, while Bestia Salvaje is just kicking him in the chest repeatedly. The only reason this match went to 3 falls is because the referee, Rafael Maya, awarded Negro Casas a fall after Los Rudos got DQ'd. The Técnicos were just not getting any offense in until the 3rd fall. But too little too late. Los Rudos take the match and continue to beat the absolute dirt off of Negro Casas. And then after the match, Santo gets a mic held up to him, and he talks about how he's better than this coward Negro Casas. Casas joined up with the Técnicos, so now Santo is with Los Rudos. But only in Arena Mexico. And then he also said that he was going to kill Negro Casas in the ring. For me, this entire segment absolutely ruled. It was just a brutal beatdown by the Rudos, and it was particularly good that El Santo was dressed as El Felino. Because as you may know, El Felino is Negro Casas' brother. So he went from thinking he was getting betrayed by his brother to actually being betrayed by his bitter rival. The following week, all 6 men have a rematch, and the first fall goes quite similarly to the first of last week's fight. The Rudos just beating the technical team to pieces. But during the second fall, things change. El Hijo del Santo picks up an entire row of seats and smashes El Dandy with it. And that seems to light a fire under the Técnicos. Negro Casas and Hector Garza start getting the upper hand in the ring against Bestia Salvaje and Scorpio Jr. Then, Dandy starts getting his revenge on Santo, tearing his mask and blasting him with a flurry of headbutts. The crowd is going absolutely insane seeing the Técnicos come back. Dandy gets the pin with La Enredadera, and the second fall goes to the Técnicos. The beginning of the third fall starts with Hector Garza holding El Hijo del Santo while Dandy continues to headbutt him. Dandy is completely busted open as well, and he's just hammering Santo with headbutts over and over and over again. The third fall also gets a little sloppy. Bestia Salvaje comes up super short on a dive, and then Hector Garza looks to bail on a shooting star press to the outside, which, looking at, seems a bit scary because a lot could have gone wrong there. What happens on the outside, he takes both of them out, doesn't really matter because that's not really the point of the match. The focus here is clearly El Dandy and Negro Casas getting their beatings back in blood on El Hijo del Santo. They continue to maul Santo and get the third fall after pinning him. The post-match interviews are what really set up for the apuestas. Dandy gets the mic and says, "Next week, it doesn't matter if it's me or Negro Casas. We accept mask versus hair." Negro Casas gets the mic next. He says, "Why do we have to wait 8 days for his mask? Let's take it now." Santo starts crawling away from the Técnicos in the ring as they go to take his mask and continue the beating. They give a mic to Bestia Salvaje, and he sounds like he's about to cry. And then Negro Casas gets the mic again, starts this evil laugh, and starts taunting Bestia Salvaje some more. The perfect setup for next week. So let's jump into the actual match now, December 6, 1996. The match's presentation feels like a really big deal. It is an apuestas match, so it's treated very importantly and is presented as such. 3 big stars of the time are duking it out for the ultimate prize. We get a video vignette with a short promo for each participant. First is Negro Casas, his music blasting throughout the arena. The song El Costo de la Vida by Juan Luis Guerra, El 440. And yes, this is why they called Negro Casas El 440. It is an homage to this musician and his band. Anyways, the vignette starts playing and Negro Casas says, "As you see, I am going to the ring, and I am going with a big responsibility. I am going against 2 real luchadores. They deserve my respect, but in the ring, we will compete and we will see who is the best. I am ready for this commitment and for others as well." Negro Casas is in one of his most important fights today. El Dandy, an old rival. El Hijo del Santo, that mask belongs to me because I am your teacher. There's an awesome transition from a screen showing his promo to the actual entrance. Negro Casas walking down the entrance ramp, accompanied by a woman in yellow and 2 men in ties. He is the first in the ring. Next, El Dandy. His words before the match are as follows: "Santo, Negro Casas, whoever is left in front of me will lose your mask or your hair. Tonight, I'm going to show the people that I am a real luchador, whether it be against El Hijo del Santo or Negro Casas. Both are old rivals." Negro Casas became a técnico to be my friend, but he has not shown me that. I am going to prove who amongst the three of us is the best. As the video ends and we transition to the actual entrance, we hear Rod Stewart's Baby Jane blasting throughout the arena. El Dandy is on his way to the ring. Our técnicos have both entered first, and now we will wait for El Hijo del Santo. He appears on the screen. I know you are waiting for me in the ring. There's not much time left before my triumph. Tonight, Negro Casas and Dandy, I will demonstrate how a real Rudo should act. I give this fight to the public. If you don't want me as a técnico or a Rudo, well, that's your problem. The only thing that matters to me is winning, and the spirit of El Santo is with me today. Another sick transition, and we see the lone Rudo making his way to the ring. He slaps away any fans who wish to give him a high five before the match, clearly showing he's not on their side tonight. He's in it for himself. El Hijo del Santo has an insanely cool silver leather jacket, fitting of his Rudo persona. On the back, the word Santo is spray painted in black. What a beast! The previous week, the jacket was not spray painted, so he must have added that at some point in those 8 days. All three men are now in the ring, and the announcer gives the final details before we begin. The match starts exactly how you think it would. Los técnicos, El Dandy and Negro Casas, pick back up on beating the dirt off El Hijo del Santo, exactly where they left off the week before. Santo tries fighting back, but 2 versus 1 is 2 versus 1, no matter how high level you are in the ring. Luckily for him, animosity between Dandy and Casas rears its head early, and they exchange chops while Santo tries to compose himself. Casas leaves the ring for a bit while Dandy continues punishing Santo. Unluckily for Santo, Casas and Dandy talk it out and get back on the same page. They're gonna beat the dirt off of El Santo and make sure his mask is on the line. They hit him with a double suplex and get the pin on him less than 4 minutes after the match starts. But now, one of the participants is set. El Hijo del Santo's mask is definitely on the line. Now we have to decide the second participant. Will it be Negro Casas or El Dandy? They get things popping in the ring. The brutality is a bit more toned down, as no one is getting ganged up on and beaten to a pulp. Speaking of El Hijo del Santo, while Dandy and Casas are going in the ring, he gets a mic offered to him and he talks about how it was a 2 versus 1, but when the next guy gets eliminated, it'll be 1-on-1. He yells, "Dandy! Finish him, Dandy! Leave him in the ring for me." Immediately after this, we get a very important moment in the match. Negro Casas rebounds off the ropes and hits El Dandy in his left knee with a dropkick. Dandy reacts like he's just had his knee destroyed. Casas sends him to the ropes and hits another dropkick on the same injured knee, and then he does it again. Casas decides he might as well take that leg with him and puts Dandy in the sharpshooter, forcing him to submit. With a huge smile on his face, Negro Casas has saved his hair. He steps out of the ring and says, "Look at what the people want," in response to the crowd noise. Some cheers and some boos for people who wanted the final two to be Santo and Casas. Before he leaves, he gives El Hijo del Santo a few more hits on the outside of the ring and tears his mask for good measure. Casas leaves standing tall, the best man on this night. He looks back and taunts Dandy and Santo as he's escorted away from the ring. As he reaches the top of the ramp, he gets another mic pushed towards him. Again, he talks about how the people wanted to see him versus El Hijo del Santo. And then he tells Santo they'll see each other again, and he's not afraid of it. Back in the ring, El Hijo del Santo wastes no time and starts beating on the still hurt Dandy. The match hasn't even technically restarted yet. The announcer is still making clear the rules. 2 out of 3 falls, no time limit. The ringside doctor checks on El Dandy and he gets up and limps towards the ring. What you think should happen next, happens next. El Hijo del Santo immediately starts targeting the hurt knee of Dandy, but something unexpected starts happening as well. The fans of Arena Mexico start booing the técnico El Dandy. Anytime he gets some offense in, the boos start raining down. And inversely, Santo starts getting cheered as a rudo. Santo finishes Dandy in the first fall using La Tapatía, also known as the Romero Special, also known as the Surfboard Stretch. Commentary even mentions how Rito Romero invented the move and how he used it in his debut at Arena Coliseo. Fans knew he was from Guadalajara, Jalisco, and thus named the move La Tapatía, as that is what people from there are called, Tapatíos. The second fall doesn't start any better for El Dandy. He continues to get the dirt kicked off of him, and it's all Santo. Anytime Dandy starts putting offense together, Santo just targets the leg and gets him down again. Even after missing a dive, Santo still ends up with the advantage. Dandy gets busted open and is now both bloody and bruised. Dandy actually gets the advantage for a second and is able to soak El Hijo del Santo with his blood, which makes El Hijo del Santo look even cooler. There's a moment of confusion in the ring with neither man really hitting anything until Dandy is able to hit an enziguri, knock down El Hijo del Santo, and lock in his finishing pin, La Enredadera. He's done the unlikely and tied the match at one fall apiece. The crowd continues to boo Dandy though. They're not happy with the idea of him winning this encounter. Dandy walks around the ring for a bit, his skin still covered in blood. He's looking pretty cool. Surely he can take this next fall and win the most valuable mask of his career, right? The next fall starts with Santo running out of the ring and into the crowd. They brawl for a bit, and again, Dandy gets a mic in his face while he's mauling Santo. He says, "Tonight, this mask is mine. There's only one fall left. I dedicate this to the people." He's just pulling Santo by the mask, and he throws him back in the ring. And I really love seeing the crowd shots in this match because these people are really, really into it. They might be booing Dandy, but they are definitely still fired up. Commentary even makes a note of this, saying the people are with El Hijo del Santo and not with El Dandy. They're back in the ring and Santo locks in an Argentine backbreaker on Dandy, but it's not enough to end this. Too early. Dandy hits a middle rope suplex on El Hijo del Santo, but again, not enough. Santo definitely feels it though, rolling out of the ring to avoid being pinned and take a second to recover. As he makes his way back into the ring, Dandy gets too confident and gets thrown out himself. And now Santo has him where he wants him. He takes a running start and hits a beautiful tope suicida onto El Dandy, the force of which launches El Dandy into the crowd. And again, it is just beautifully executed. El Hijo del Santo was really, really good at making all of his stuff look really smooth, but also really authentic. And not to be outdone, as soon as he gets the opportunity, El Dandy attempts a plancha out of the ring onto El Hijo del Santo, but unlike El Hijo del Santo, Dandy's doesn't hit. Dandy takes a brutal fall to the outside. The sound his body makes as he hits the ground is a little disgusting. Also at this point, El Hijo del Santo's mask is nowhere near the silver color it started at the beginning of this match. But Santo is back in control of this match. And you can tell both guys are exhausted, taking longer and longer to get back into the ring. And when Dandy finally makes it back, Santo starts going for his finishing submission hold, La de Caballo. But Dandy resists, getting an arm down every time Santo goes to pull both back. He escapes the attempt, and a pin attempt as well. And now it's starting to feel like we are in the home stretch. Santo goes to the top and hits a great flying headbutt on a standing Dandy. How it looks so good this late in the match, bloodied and exhausted, I have truly no idea. Santo was just really, really good. He goes for a pin, but it's too close to the ropes. Rope break. He brings Dandy to the middle of the ring and hits a Hurricanrana with a pin, 2 count. They get back up and Santos tries to sneak a win with a standing cradle, and still Dandy kicks out. Dandy gets another burst of energy and locks in a great looking cruceta. It's tight and right in the middle of the ring. But Santo doesn't give up either. He drags himself and Dandy to the ropes in order to force him to break the hold. Dandy plants Santo down right in front of the turnbuckle and nails him with a guillotine leg drop. But again, it isn't enough. Dandy, frustrated, goes back up to the top rope, but as his back is turned, Santo sneaks up and puts Dandy on his shoulders for a huge electric chair drop. The window of opportunity opens and Santo takes the advantage. He again attempts to put Dandy away with la de a caballo. Dandy resists again, but he just doesn't have the juice left to escape. Both arms go back, Santo grabs the face, and he cranks. Dandy can do nothing but scream. And thus he submits. No longer willing to take any more punishment, his fate is sealed. He will be returning home, yes, but he will be returning bald. The people erupt. The match has been decided, and while they should be booing El Hijo del Santo, he's getting cheered. Santo gets a mic offered and gives just a few quick words before quickly leaving the arena. El público tiene la palabra. The people have the word. Dandy also gets a question regarding why he thinks the people turned on him and started cheering Santo. He answers, saying that he did get support, but it was a split crowd. The people who know real Lucha Libre cheered, and everybody else booed. Hilariously, the boos get louder. He continues though, saying that this night it was not El Hijo del Santo who beat him. He lost because of Negro Casas injuring his knee. He asked for a one-on-one match with El Hijo del Santo with no Negro Casas to interfere. And he says if the people still don't support him, it's fine. Now we get some audible Dandy chants from the crowd, showing that he really did have supporters in the crowd. Dandy then asks for a one-on-one with Negro Casas as well, with no interference from El Santo. Last, he says he is a responsible person, and he will now get shaved as per the contract he signed. The next part for me was a little confusing. As Dandy starts cutting his own hair with scissors, they start playing the entrance music that El Hijo del Santo used when he first came down to the ring. And this made me think he was coming back out, maybe to beat down Dandy again and cut off Dandy's hair himself. But no, he just never showed up. He never came. Dandy just kept cutting his own hair until the CMLL barber pulled the clippers out and started buzzing him. And that's how the show ends. Commentary gives their thoughts, and the camera is on El Dandy getting his hair shaved. The camera starts panning out, and then it goes to a woman in the crowd crying at the result. The cameras turn off, the wrestlers head to the locker room, and the fans go home. My final thoughts are as follows. I think this match absolutely ruled. The story made perfect sense. Two guys beat up the guy who betrayed them and turned rudo. The better of the two won by targeting the knee, and Negro Casas got to go home early. Then it was a fight for survival. Obviously, Dandy was at a big disadvantage, but he fought hard to try and make it more even. It was a hard-hitting match, very well-paced. I didn't feel like we were going too fast or too slow between spots. Things got time to soak and really play out. And the exhaustion with both guys bleeding really added a layer of intensity and desperation. Santo and Dandy were in the match for almost 30 full minutes. I have no major complaints that I can think of. Maybe involve the hurt knee in the finish. It felt like after a certain point in the third fall, they shifted the focus to more brutality and the injured leg stopped being sold as much by Dandy. Regardless, it did not hurt the match, but it could have boosted the match a little more, if that makes any sense. If I had to rank this match out of 10, I think a 9 or 9.5 is a very, very fair score. It's nearly the perfect match, so I wouldn't judge anyone for giving it a perfect 10. But for me, it just needed a little more. Santo as a rudo was awesome, but him getting the cheers should have been a bit expected. It's El Hijo del Santo. Yes, his father, El Santo, was a rudo at one point as well, but Santo came up as a rudo, And then he became a beloved técnico. El Hijo del Santo was, just always kind of known as a técnico, if that makes sense. He's talked before about his turn to being rudo, and he explained how it came about from people booing and jeering at him when he came back to CMLL from AAA. He also has talked about how much he loved being a rudo and how he had a ton of fun just being rudo. Personally, though, I really liked it. If, you can say what you want. Some people, I've read some thoughts online. People were like, well, that it really just didn't hit. I think I saw a video of somebody talking about, well, it just wasn't, it was like a failure of a run as a rudo. But like, I liked it. I really did like it. The silver jacket with the spray paint on the back, that was crazy. And not in a bad way. That was crazy good. Loved it. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this match? Have you seen it before? What's your favorite or least favorite part? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you later.